People of Twitch. I don't know why I started with a song. it felt it felt like the move today. Raven, hello. Fanaria, hello. Hey there, Abby. Hello. We're gonna get to you in just a minute here. If you don't know me, hi. I'm Abbers. I play video games here on Twitch sometimes. I also interview other streamers about streaming sometimes. Today we have an amazing guest. I'm very excited to introduce you to her. Give me a second to get their clip up. One moment, please. I realized there was something I forgot to do because there's always something I forget to do. That's not correct. That's correct. All right, here's a clip to get to know Hey There, Abby.
You? If I played with the mouse, it would look like this. Yeah, if I played with the mouse, I'd play it like this. Like a fucking psycho, like a fucking weirdo. Ah!
It's my goal. A part of Twitch is just to continue to keep to create a safe environment for my community, a place people can escape to, a place that people feel comfortable and welcome and loved.
Men in their games.
Men in their games.
Wild animals.
You're right. We are animals.
Who's this chick?
Hey, can you give a girl a ride?
This isn't a real stream. This is a test stream. This is a test stream. It's not a real stream.
Aw, so excited. Everybody please help me in welcoming Hey There, Abby.
Hi.
How's it
Oh, excuse
going?
me. Go great if I get this frog out of my throat that wasn't there 10
You're
minutes
good.
ago.
Take a moment, it's fine.
No, I'm excited to be here. It's weird. I have you there, and then the stream up on this screen, so it's really weird seeing myself not streaming and
Yeah.
on someone else's stream. It's surreal.
Well, we were talking about this just a minute ago, and there's a clip of you interviewing Raven, but I remember, gosh, 3 years ago now, probably. I was on your stream because you used to do dinner with Ryoko. So
That's
the
right.
tables have turned now.
Yes,
Which is fun.
I think that clip from Raven, I think that was that had to be 2020. That was during COVID.
Wow.
And that was probably the first dinner with Ryoko.
Yeah, that's amazing. How cool. Well, welcome. Let's just get into it.
Yeah.
I still feel the need to call you Ryoko, which is really funny. I'm like, no, she's Abby now.
It's not to get on a thing about that, but
No, go for it.
I low key miss being called Ryoko.
Yeah.
So like when Ryoko kind of slips out of people, I still kind of get a smile because it's not my birth name. It's not
Yeah.
the name. It's not other nicknames people call me. It's still a good moniker. So
Yeah.
when that slips out of people, I don't get upset. But yeah, Abby's like what I would go by in like the RL
Okay.
as the kids would say.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's start there then, a little bit of a different spot. So what inspired you to change your Twitch name from Ryoko to Hey There, Abby?
Gosh, I've gone through so many different names, but I guess I was thinking of rebranding the channel for like a 15th time. I'm sure everybody knows how that is. And I was like, I think it's time if, transitioning in the real world, why not kind of use that name? You'd like the name Abby, Hey There Abby, or something with Abby in it was going to be the name. I think I like, oh, it's Abby or stuff like that, or hey, it's Abby.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Hey There Abby is that's one. It's fun to say.
Yeah, it is. Anytime you pop into the chat, I'm like, oh, hey there, Abby. Like, it's cute. I like it. Yeah.
Though I I will admit, I genuinely miss going into your chat and you just being like, Ryoko.
I mean, I can do that. I can throw a few of those in there still. That's okay.
um,
Um,
yeah, no, I think it was just trying to mirror uh, my real life persona.
mhm.
Um, I'm still a crazy space pirate online that loves to create chaos.
Mhm.
Uh, but I figured, the time was now. I had
Yeah.
been, and I've been through a couple other iterations of Ryoko, but I felt it was time to retire the old gal.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, I think that, we talk a lot about identity, you and I think, because, pan recognize pan, gender fluid recognize gender fluid. So I think that this idea of things are not static, right? That I think we're constantly evolving and changing, and to have your name reflect that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Let's go back. Let's go way, way back.
way back. All right.
Do you remember your very first stream?
Uh, it's funny in preparation for this, kind of watching the last couple streams, anticipating some of these questions and my answers to them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that first stream would have been 2015.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
Was that on
probably,
Twitch in 2015?
yeah. Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
You're
Here,
an OG, almost 10
funny,
years.
funny thing about I almost call myself Ryoko. Funny thing about Abby is, yeah, I've been around Twitch for almost 10 years,
Wow. You're an
and
OG.
so I think, no, I'm sorry, 2016, but I've been on Twitch since
Okay,
2015.
8 years, whatever.
So 2016, uh, I started streaming in January because I got a laptop for Christmas and very, very limited on what I could stream. Uh, with the help of some people that I'm no longer friends with, they kind of helped me get set up on my laptop, and I started streaming essentially emulated games.
Okay.
So my first stream probably would have been Pokemon,
Okay.
Pokemon Red and Blue. I think I streamed
Nice.
the ever living crap out of that.
Okay.
And I think the only thing that would rival it now would probably be maybe poker, or I can't even think it because that's I stream a lot of online poker.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Pokemon Red was probably the first game that I just absolutely played the shit out of on Twitch. I played it on my first 12-hour stream that I did, all while living at my parents. So
Mm.
I did all that. There was, before dinner with Ryoko, there was cooking with Ryoko.
Oh, that's fun.
So I would drag the laptop downstairs, set it in my parents' kitchen,
Yeah.
and again, only camera I had was the one that comes with the MacBook.
Okay.
So kind of positioning that, and yeah, so I did cooking streams. But it was really a lot of in those early days, games that could be emulated, or your smaller Steam games.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Well, and if you go back, like, a few months prior to that, because you said you were on Twitch as a viewer like a year before that,
Mm-hmm.
what made you decide? Like, what was your thought process in going, you know what, I want to try streaming?
Uh, it just seems like a genuine fun way to connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
The one stream that I was in a whole lot, I mean, I'll use their then stream name. Retro was a big reason why I got into streaming. She was always, and she would pop in my stream. She was probably my first mod.
Mm.
And just just kind of them motivating me, seeing how much fun they had. And I was like, dude, I can play like Pokemon Red from like 15 years ago
Mm-hmm.
online. Like I can play it, and people will watch it. I just thought that part of it was really cool, that I can stream whatever the hell I want in a video game. I can stream Captain Skyhawk on the Nintendo, and someone's gonna watch me play that. And
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. I still think that's really cool that people are right now watching us essentially have a conversation.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting too, this idea of like, I don't know. They could be from anywhere, they could be from any walk of life, and you don't know either. So there's something really like interesting about like um I think the anonymity of like chat, but also like um the the anonymity that you feel too. Like I don't know if it's anonymity necessarily, but like it's this double-edged sword of like, oh, there's no one here, I can do whatever, but also anyone could be here at any time. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's
It's the same
interesting.
thing. I did radio in college,
Okay.
and it's kind of the same thing. It wasn't a big radio station, but I mean, there were probably parts of Philadelphia and 95 where you could hear me if you
Yeah.
were listening in during the right times, and you don't think about it at the time because there's no one else around you.
Right.
And there's obviously nobody talking to you because it's you and the microphone and the board.
Mm-hmm.
And Twitch is kind of the same thing. Like there's nobody here with me.
Yeah. Yeah. That is interesting. You know what? I never thought about it, but radio, yeah, is a very similar vibe. That makes sense. How did you get into that in college?
Uh I've been told that I have a voice for radio.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of beat into me. And again, I just thought it was fun. Didn't major in radio, television, or film in college. That was, still was in the same building. Was still in the communications building,
Mm-hmm.
but I was a public relations major.
Oh, okay.
Um, so what business? And I think I was probably the only one in that studio that wasn't majoring in radio, television, or film. Maybe one or two other students at the time, but primarily that's what it was all majors of that field.
Yeah. Yeah. And what intrigued you about it? Like, have you always kind of
Yeah,
been
I
a
just thought it
presenter?
was. I just thought it sounded fun. Yeah, talking, broadcasting's always been kind of something I was interested in. I used to record myself. Can't believe I'm gonna say this. It was like 30 years ago. I used to do this. Um, I have cassette tapes of me essentially
Aw,
recording myself walking around my house, going
cute.
outside, just talking and whatnot. I think there's a recording of me somewhere. Um, of I used to have, I still do, little Matchbox NASCAR cars because I'm a big racing fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I would call my own races because I had a little like play mat, and I
Cute.
would do that.
I love it.
Like I had to be like I was young, but I wasn't young.
Yeah.
Wasn't like I was probably I had to be almost a teenager. I would say 11 or 12
Okay.
probably
Yeah.
at the time.
That's amazing.
Um, and yeah, so that I think that kind of fueled my you know desire to kind of get into trying out radio, and then ultimately where I am now on Twitch.
Totally. No, that makes complete and total sense. You unlocked a core memory for me. Me and my friend Becca Morehouse. Shout out Becca Morehouse. I have no idea where you are now. But probably around that same age, like I want to say like the 10 to 12 range, we would play radio station and use cassette tapes to record songs and then us like talking in
Yep,
between,
I
right?
did. I did that too.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And talking about that now, I'm like, oh God, I would have to teach the youth what a cassette tape is, you know?
There, there's actually a recording of a 9 or 10 year old Abby
Yeah,
on their way to Disney World. My mom, I guess, was like, to keep us busy because we drove from South Jersey all the way to Orlando.
yeah.
Because my parents didn't fly, and I'm sure they didn't want to deal with, two kids and a teenager,
Mm-hmm,
um,
mm-hmm.
flying. So, but there's recording of it. That cassette tape still exists somewhere. I'm
It's
sure of it.
amazing.
I'm pretty sure most of my cassette tapes all exist
Yeah.
because I never throw anything out, and I don't think I could listen to those those tapes now.
No, you don't think so?
Oh no!
That's funny.
I don't like listening to my own voice
Yeah.
to begin with, which is funny because I could talk for hours and hours and hours
Mm-hmm.
just as long as I don't have to hear myself.
Gotcha. Do you get into editing your clips and stuff at all, or is it something you kind of avoid for that reason?
I do, and it's very cringe.
Yeah, yeah.
Though some of them, sometimes I don't mind. Like those clips, I think just about all of them make me laugh. I forget which one I was watching the night that I made that, and I'm sitting here giggling like a little girl. I think it might be the first Life is Strange
Okay.
um, clip when I was moving the mouse around. But yeah, all that led me really to this moment.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense. It all sounds like a very like natural progression. Rusty Panda wants to know, are you still in Jersey?
I am unfortunately not.
Okay.
Thanks because of the relationships I made on Twitch,
Uh,
I moved up here to Central New York. But I'm down in South Jersey quite a bit. I try to get down there a few times a year, especially for
gotcha.
the holidays, and usually maybe once or twice for the summer.
Okay. Yeah. If you look at like when your stream first started versus now, like being someone that started 8 years ago, what are some of the major things that not only changed in your stream, but also just on Twitch in general?
Oh my god, 8 years doesn't sound like a long time, but it really is.
In
I
this
mean,
space, it
in
definitely
this space,
is.
it really is.
Yeah.
You didn't have affiliates back then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I You didn't have as many partners back then, and if you didn't get partnership, you weren't making money
Right.
unless you had a Patreon or people were donating through PayPal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it wasn't as inclusive back then. Um, a lot. I think you had a lot more trolls. I think you had a bigger issue with trolls back then. Um, I mean, for my stream itself, I mean, my God, I up until probably 4 years ago, I would say streaming from my laptop. You know, audio. I had audio issues.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to properly do all that. Um, to the point where Taryn 13 actually came in my stream one day and was like, "Where's your audio coming out of?" And I go, "Oh, it's coming out of the speakers, and it's getting picked up by the microphone because I don't know
Mm.
how to have the stream pick up the in-game audio." She goes, "Oh, I can direct you to somebody who knows how to do that."
Hmm.
And that was a big changing moment for the stream because I would listen to the stream back, you know, certain parts of it just to see how that sounded,
Yeah.
and it was like night and day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have more of a layout now. I have more of a, I don't want to say structure, but I have a better idea of what I like to do
Mm-hmm.
on stream than, you know, 8 years ago where I was just, you know, streaming Pokemon and Tetris.
Yeah.
I still stream Tetris because Tetris is amazing. Um, but yeah, I think Twitch and my stream have both come quite a long way in 8 years. I think now Twitch is a bit more, it's safer, it's more inclusive. I think you have a lot more queer streamers and people involved in Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't even think you had Nightbot 8 years ago.
Yeah. I don't even know because
Um,
I wasn't on Twitch at that time. I think at that time it was something that like I heard other people like talk about and I was like, yeah, cool, whatever.
exactly. And that's how I got involved in it. It's a core memory.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
remember being at my friend's house by myself because he hadn't gotten done work yet,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm standing in his living room just farting around on my phone, and I remember he had it was Maddie Braun, so it's Matt. Shout out Maddie Braun. Uh, so it was Maddie and our friend Dan. We're talking about Twitch one day. So like 3 days later, in his house alone, and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna check this Twitch thing out, and did that. It's like, oh wow, this is freaking wild and random.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's funny. Like I think if I hadn't lost my job at the racetrack, I wonder if I would be here. I wonder if
Mm.
those series of events. That's why I was at his house that early. If I had been working normal hours, I wouldn't be on my phone looking up what the hell Twitch was.
Interesting.
Yeah,
It is funny
yeah,
that kind of like was it the little like butterfly effect kind of things of like this is
right.
a
Yeah,
split
little
point
things
in my
like little.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, if you go into like the multiverse theory, it's like there might be an Abby out there that like, did go to work that day or whatever, and it's always interesting, an interesting thought experiment at least to kind of go down and be like, I wonder if,
I mean, and yeah, and I'm sure we'll get into this later, but Twitch is, I mean, that's a big reason why I'm Abby
Yeah.
now.
Well, let's get into that now. Yeah, can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. What would you like to know?
Well, so you kind of coming into your own as Abby, I guess, and Twitch being a space to facilitate that. Like, it's something, again, I think it's something that I connect with you on. Because for me, Twitch was this space where it's like, oh, I don't necessarily feel comfortable in my real life being as queer and weird as I am, but I can do that here, you know?
Mhm.
And so I'm curious, yeah, what that experience was like for you.
So one of the first people I followed on Twitch, I can't even remember her name now. I don't even know if she still streams. Was unbeknownst to me a trans streamer.
Hmm.
Uh, and God, this is when Twitch teams were like still brand new and everything. She had a team. I forget what they were called. But one of them were this lesbian couple um, that I became completely enamored with and became close friends with, and through them, through the one mainly, um, they and I formed a very very close friendship, and I guess through that, I think this has always been under the surface, boiling to the top.
Hmm.
And I think meeting them was kind of the lid coming off of that pot.
Yeah.
And then bought my first wig while still living at home. I bought that
Mm.
bought my first wig still living at home, and let me tell you, there was, because again, not out to anybody.
Yeah.
Um, barely out to to Tiff or Jamie at that point. The couple, and I just started experimenting. I go, kind of cute. Um, and then from there, first stream, I think I had a wig on, no makeup yet, or very little makeup,
Hmm.
because I had no idea what the hell I was doing.
Hmm. Hmm.
um, and then that just kind of progressed, and then moved up here, because again, this is not relevant to the story. Jamie's no longer in the picture, so it's just Tiff. So moved up here with her, and was able to kind of explore myself even more. Met queer people at work, and that kind of got the ball rolling to probably uh, 6 months ago,
Yeah.
almost seven, where I kind of made the decision from talking to a therapist, uh, talking to my trans friend Richie, and my trans friend Clover. Uh, they'd both been separately, kind of encouraging me to do this. And then I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Booked the appointment at Planned Parenthood, and September. Um, Actually, that's when I started. So that revelation probably came in June. I think September was the first opening they had
Okay.
to
And you
get
mean
me in.
starting HRT then?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
September 28th.
Okay. And how has life been for you since then?
It's been a roller coaster.
I believe it. Yeah.
It's and not at times not even a fun roller coaster.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna get super serious. Um, but other times it's been pretty like humorous. Like I'll break down crying over nothing,
Hmm.
and then 2 minutes later I'm laughing. I'm like, why am I so upset about this?
Yeah.
Um, it's really the emotional stuff that's been the biggest challenge. The physical changes are there. Obviously, those are very exciting.
Hmm.
But more the emotional stuff has been kind of a rough ride the last 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think you're a great testament to this idea of forming online friendships and forming very real relationships through Twitch. So having met someone on Twitch to then moving in with them, can you talk a little bit about that in terms of just like forming that friendship?
It's a little hard to talk about because that relationship, friendship, ended horrifically.
Okay. And we don't have to
Um,
get into that if you
no,
don't
no,
want
no.
to.
So the two of them, I guess, were looking for a roommate. Their dad was, the one's dad was still living there with them,
Mm-hmm.
and they had invited me up for a weekend once, one that summer, I guess summer 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and three of us had hit it off. Like we all just got along really well. And I think they had initially invited a friend of theirs that lived in Michigan, but their living situation changed. And blah, 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 blah. So then they asked me, and as I tell people, I go, because people ask me all the time, like, why do you live up here?
Mm.
Like, why would you move up here? And I go, well, was turning 35, and I needed to get out of that house. And it's nothing against my parents or anything like that, but this whole Abby was boiling
Yeah.
to come out.
Yeah.
So getting out of there and getting up here, um, I needed to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, moved up here April of 2017 after just knowing them for about a year and a half. But yeah, just being in their stream every day, them being in my stream every day. Like Tiff was always in there,
Mm-hmm.
always she was one of my biggest supporters. When I started streaming, her and a couple other people just like kind of took me under their wing, and kind of helped me and encouraged me to hey, try this, or oh, you got to do this. Setting up a Discord. When
Mm-hmm.
I first started streaming, Discord wasn't even a thing.
Wow.
I think Discord had just come out.
Yeah.
I think Discord had just come out right around the time I started streaming. I
Mm-hmm.
think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
um,
interesting that Discord is now something that like is so ingrained with the Twitch experience in so many ways. Because it was something I had used a little bit with friends prior to really getting into Twitch to like play video games together, to like, chat or whatever, but it wasn't something that I really got into until getting into Twitch.
yeah, and I think the Twitch integration with Discord is great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Discord by itself is so much fun. And my God, Discord has come so far
Yeah.
in 8 years. I mean, from being, you know, just, voice chat and text chat to essentially this.
Yeah.
And like Raven and I have played poker on
Mm-hmm.
over Discord before. It's just crazy how far that this little, app has come.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, going back kind of to streaming and everything, you mentioned, partners and being affiliate and all of that is very different now. What was your reaction to the affiliate program when it first kind of came out?
Um, I might not have been streaming. I mean, that may have been because I took like a really long break.
Mm-hmm.
Um, After I had to move into this apartment, really from 2017 to 2018, I didn't stream that much.
Okay.
Because didn't stream at all when I was living with the roommate, and then when that went south, didn't really stream here
Mm-hmm.
right away until probably late 2018, 2019. So I think while I was away, um, affiliate rolled out. I thought it was pretty cool. I didn't really get it at first. But then when I found out that it was achievable, I go, oh,
Mm-hmm.
why not? Why not get back into streaming? It might be a nice way to make, a few extra bucks,
Mm-hmm.
here and there.
Sure.
And yeah, I think began my comeback tour. Again, streaming, Pokemon and other, and Tetris and other NES games,
Love it.
both good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, was able to get affiliate and get some
Nice.
pretty awesome emotes.
Yay, emotes. We love the emotes. Did your relationship to streaming change after you got affiliate?
I thought I had more responsibility to stream
Hmm.
because of it, because now people are essentially, they're paying you
Right.
to perform a service, and yeah, that
Right.
service is on my time whenever the hell I feel like it. But if I give you $5 and you don't do anything,
Mm.
like what, like, all right, next month I'm not going to spend $5.
Right. Right.
So I think I tried to stream a little bit more. Um, I think my work schedule at the time kind of allowed it, made it easier
Mm-hmm.
for me to kind of stream like my gender fluidly.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and then once I got the PC, I kind of ramped it up. I was like, well, the sky's the limit
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And then once I got the capture card, uh, I got this. Oh, wow, I probably got that about now. That laptop's probably 3 or 4 years old now.
Wow.
I'm sorry, the
Okay.
PC is 3 or 4 years old. That got that in March or April of either 2020 or 2021. That Christmas, my friend Maddie got me a capture card for
Okay.
Christmas. And then, I mean, my God, then I was streaming. I could stream like my favorite PlayStation 1 games,
Yeah.
PlayStation 4 games, my Switch,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of helped me. That really, I really took off. I think then getting to kind of stream games that I just absolutely adored.
Yeah. Definitely. No, that's great. I mean, capture card opens up so much, I think, for people that play on like console games. Like, because I play computer games, and I started streaming with World of Warcraft, so that's obviously a PC or a laptop game, right? But I'm really a Nintendo kid at heart, so having a capture card has been huge for me, being able to play stuff from my Switch, you know?
Yeah, I primarily play my Switch.
Okay.
It's I wouldn't say one of my favorite systems of all time, but I just love how I could sit right here and play on it,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't nothing has to be plugged in.
Yeah.
I'm not I'm and I can get up, I can go answer the door while
Mm-hmm.
playing it. I don't have to pause it.
Yes.
There's no Yeah, it's the future of gaming.
Absolutely. Well, unless I'm streaming, honestly, I just play it handheld. I don't play it
Yeah,
connected to like a TV personally. Like I
nope,
use it like a
me
like a
neither.
Game Boy, you know. Um,
Exactly.
so I love that. I love that. And yeah, it is a throwback. You were talking about like Pokemon Red Blue, right? Like it is a throwback to being able to like, have handheld games. So I'm very into it for that reason.
Yeah, I think the Game Boy had a lot of influence on
Totally.
the Switch.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so you started out with Pokemon, and then Pokemon and Tetris. Now you play a lot of poker. What has been kind of the evolution of the content, I guess, that you create through streaming?
So yeah, again, early days, it's Game Boy games and Nintendo games that I
Mm-hmm.
could stream from an emulator. So it was, Pokemon. It was the big one. Actually probably didn't start streaming Tetris until the apartment.
Okay.
I don't think I played much Tetris at home, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was kind of, once I got a Steam account, I was like, could I stream some of these games?
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to do that. So then it kind of went to more retro games, to more like retro inspired
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
games. Read Only Memories 2064 was a game I streamed the hell out of.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my favorite games of all time, honestly. And that was a game that was recommended to me, and I think it came out 2015. So
Okay.
that game's almost 10 years old.
Yeah.
Um, and so then there was that. Cooking with Ryoko was a big deal. Anytime my parents were out of town, or I thought I could get away with it, it
Mm-hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
God. Looking back at those days, both streaming wise and who I was trying to be wise
Mm-hmm.
was just terrifying. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
well, what if? Because I remember doing one stream and my mom was working and I don't think she was gonna get home until like later in the day. So I remember putting a wig on, kind of doing my makeup a little bit, and streaming in the kitchen. Not
Mm.
even like just you know the balls on this kid. So I'm a stream in the kitchen, all dressed up, and no one's gonna bother me. And
Yeah.
it came close a couple times.
Yeah.
Um, and then just moving up here and just not you know giving a shit.
Yeah.
Uh, so cooking with Ryoko, read only memories. Moving up here, I tried actually streaming from my PS4 once or twice.
Okay.
Um, didn't really didn't really enjoy that too much.
Mm-hmm.
I think I streamed that like Jurassic Park World Builder
Okay.
game. Um, and then I guess the big change was Dinner with Ryoko and Ryoko's Roundtable.
Yeah.
Uh, and that came to me. I got that idea. There was a podcast I used to listen to called Query with Cam Esposito.
Oh, okay.
And I was recommended to someone that I was friends with at the time. And that I go, wow, this is really good. I go, that's a really cool idea. Why don't I do that?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of interviewing mostly queer streamer people that I know, and some that I don't. But I mean, those early days, again, 2020. By that time, I had known Raven less than a year, like a
Yeah.
few months, and I think she was on there was a short list of people back then that I was like, I want these people on my show.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you had there was Raven, there was Tiny, uh, and there was Taryn, I think. Uh, and thank you for the shout out.
Of course.
I don't think there were really any others
Yeah.
back then. And had Raven on and had a blast. I don't know if I had a show that night because I was, as you in that first clip of Raven and I talking, from the clip at the top of the show, that was from that show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I did my own makeup. I'm pretty sure I went out. But anyway, that Dinner with Ryoko kind of progressed into Ryoko's Roundtable, which became like a roundtable discussion of all kinds of things. I did one on speedrunning with three queer streamers, and that was a lot of fun. I had on, technically he was on twice. Cade Peterson, who right now is who's the CEO of Midboss. Game. So the CEO of a pretty big gaming company. I had him on thanks to, again, tooting her horn. Thanks to Raven, who kind of introduced me to Cade. So I've had quite a bit of just changes, and then now with the Hey There Abby channel, more poker, more Steam games because I'm lazy and don't want to hook up my PS4
Fair. Yeah.
or Switch. And we were talking about that before stream, the difference between depression and laziness a little bit.
Yeah.
But and now the next evolution of the channel is going to be more of a this style, but instead of an interview, I would be more like it's a conversation. It's just two or three queers talking about any given a given topic. Like I idea that shot into my brain the other day, and I immediately messaged Raven about it. I was like, out with Abby idea, queerness in horror movies, or something like mine. She goes, "Oh, that's a good one."
Yeah.
So it's I've several different ideas working. Taryn's been helping me out with layouts and everything. So super appreciative of her. She's half the reason I still stream.
Yeah.
Just because of, with her kind of guidance and just help with layouts, emotes, sound,
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. And the fact that she sent me the link for, what is it, Movavi video editor, I think that's on
Mm-hmm.
Steam. It was like on sale. She goes, "You need this, buy it."
Yeah.
And that's been, thanks to that, I have clips and intro videos and everything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I don't do it often with Twitch, which is weird because I'm very nostalgic about a lot of things. But like looking back now, like the stream has come so far.
Yeah.
Like it's gone through so many different changes. I really wish back then you could do clips. I don't think you could
Yeah.
back in the early days of Twitch, but I would love to have seen clips of my super old streaming from my parents and stuff like that. Seeing
Yeah.
what those look like compared to what now looks like with just better audio, better visual, a real
Totally.
microphone, a real camera.
I'm sure there's a huge difference. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think that you have a really cool story in this kind of the way that not only your stream has evolved, but the way that you as a person have kind of evolved alongside it. And being able to kind of become more and more yourself as you stream more and more, you know? Are you out to your parents now or no?
Yes, I
Okay.
am. I came out to them as gender fluid and pansexual a few years ago,
Okay.
and then at Thanksgiving, um, I came out to them as about being on HRT and transitioning.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a funny story about that too. My oldest sister knew.
Okay.
I came out to her first, and she, her and I talked about it, and she goes, "Well, what I gotta tell mom and dad." I go, "Yeah." I go, "I think Thanksgiving. You're gonna be." Well, at first I didn't know she was going home for Thanksgiving, so I go, "Well, I'm gonna tell them eventually," but. Then I heard that she was gonna be home for Thanksgiving, and I texted her. I go, "Hey, I'm gonna do it at Thanksgiving. Can you be in the room?" And she
Mm-hmm.
goes, "Yeah, absolutely." And then later that night, she texts me. She goes, "You know, when are you planning on having the conversation with them?" And I go, "Oh, I'm not sure." And she goes, "Probably best to do it to do it after dinner." And I laughed. I go, "Yeah." I go, "Good point. That way, if it goes bad, at least I don't have to drive back home
Yeah.
on an empty
Then you
stomach.
can just leave. Totally.
Yeah.
Very smart, sister. I love that strategy.
And they my parents are very late. I don't want to say laid back, but kind of like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's like, or my mom. Well, first of all, I was like, well, you can afford that. I go, afford what? She goes, the surgery. I go, I didn't say anything about surgery. I go,
Right.
I take medicine, but my insurance, covers part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like my deductible was whatever my deductible was. She goes, oh, okay. I think she's, I, I guess, just unsure.
Sure.
I don't like to use the word ignorant because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's a negative connotation. But if I were to use it in its truest form of the word,
Yeah.
like she doesn't know any better.
Right. Right. Well, this
And
was
that's nothing against
something.
her. I still love her.
Yeah. Well, this is something we were talking about before the stream a little bit is just our conception of gender and transness and queerness even just 10 years ago is so different from what
That's
it is
right.
now, right? And so when you talk about your parents, I don't know how old your parents are, but for mine, they're almost in their 70s now, and so it's something that as open-minded as my mom is, for example, there's stuff that's just brand
They
new,
don't
you
they don't
know?
get it. And
Yeah.
there's stuff that you know me in my 40s,
Mhm.
you almost in your 40s, like
Mm.
there's stuff we hear that we're like, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah,
And I
totally.
think that's part of the problem with everybody. Like I think we as I need to be more patient with
Mm.
people that don't
Yeah.
understand who I am. Like there's not there's not necessarily malice
Mm,
or ill content. It's ignorance. They don't know, and they need to politely be educated, because yelling at them, I mean, it's just going to piss them off, and then they're not gonna learn. People need to
yeah.
be politely educated. Now, obviously, if there's malice and they're just an asshole, then you just you can't fix stupid,
Right. Right.
but
Well,
you can fix ignorant.
I'm curious too, because
I think.
I struggle with this particularly in streaming, but in life in general. In streaming, when you have someone come into your chat for the first time, for example, or someone that's relatively new, not there all the time, whatever, there are moments for me where it's like they'll ask a question, and in that moment I have to like kind of determine like, are you coming from a good place? Am I safe to have this conversation with you? Are the people in my chat safe with this conversation? Are you genuinely wanting to learn, or are you here to like troll me? And it's so
Hmm.
hard because I
It
think
is.
while streaming I feel such a pressure to like instantly decide. Whereas in real life I can kind of determine like, okay, this is a relationship with someone that I care about, so I can be more patient. Does that make sense?
No, I think it's, and I'm sorry, Raven just brought up a really good point,
Yeah.
about stream etiquette, and that's something else that's changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think when you're around long enough, you know who your troublemakers are.
Yeah, sure.
And I think, with me at least, very few of them get through
Yeah.
the cracks. I can usually spot it right away, and it's all in the question, because a
Mhm.
normal person isn't going to ask, "Is that your real hair?"
Yeah, right, right,
Like,
right, totally.
do you wear glasses? Like, are there like lenses in your lap? Like, no one is going to ask that.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
so. I mean, again, 8 years ago though, you didn't. Again, it was just so much harder to regulate that stuff.
Yeah.
Because what people would do, because you didn't have tags back then either,
Right.
so you had no LGBT, or you know just chatting. Well, you had just chatting, but like you didn't have all those different tags, so people could
Mhm.
just go to
Mhm.
the bottom of the page, find people that had like one or two stream viewers, see what they look like, and whether they were queer or not,
Yeah.
easy targets.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and when you first started streaming on stream, were you openly queer when you first started, or was that kind of a gradual transition too?
No, I think I almost always had a wig on,
Okay. Yeah.
and I think I almost always had a little bit, at least a little bit of makeup on.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, Again, going back 8 years,
Yeah.
it's a long time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Uh, I don't, yeah, because I know, maybe not always, but definitely more. I know for the cooking streams, always.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
and so for you that's been a pretty consistent experience in terms of like your presentation, but it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, the way that people have interacted with you has changed over time.
yeah, and I think that comes from the company I keep.
Yeah, sure.
I think I don't get as many random people as I used to,
Mhm.
which is weird, and a little a little a little upsetting, because that makes me think that I'm not reaching
Mm.
anybody if I'm not getting any trolls.
That's a really funny way to measure discoverability. It's like, well, I haven't gotten any trolls in a
I
while.
haven't
Maybe
got
the
any trolls in a
algorithm's mad at
while.
me.
Yeah. Um,
That's really funny.
but yeah, and again, going back to your original question, for me at least, I can spot the troublemakers,
Yeah.
but that just comes from practice and not trusting anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I talk about this a lot. I'm very banhammer happy. Potentially to my detriment. And I think that there are moments where I'm feeling defensive and I don't really have the emotional wherewithal or social battery to entertain bullshit.
Hmm.
And so
Yep,
I
I agree.
think that like but I do think that sometimes I maybe am too quick to assume that people are being malintended, like you say, you know. So it is what Raven said is a really great way of putting it. It's just it's a difficult dance trying to kind of decide how you want to interact with people who are new and you're not sure about in your stream. And I think in life too, like I struggle, like I'll bring it back to my parents. I understand that I could be a powerful influence in educating my parents, and at the same time I don't necessarily have the emotional wherewithal to do it, you know.
It's not your and it's not your job.
And it's not my job. Yeah.
It's not your job to educate people. Like
Right.
if they I feel this way. If people and I had a manager. I worked for a solar panel company for a few months, and I remember I asked the guy that was a very nice people, most professional people I ever worked for, and they're passionate too, and I love that. And I asked the one guy, I go, hey, you know, I want to learn more about, you know, the industry. Like, what can you recommend? And he goes, he goes, you know, honestly, he goes, if you were really passionate and you really cared, you wouldn't even ask me. You would just look it up. You just, you know. And I took that to heart, and I'm like, he's right.
Yeah.
And I think if people genuinely care about you or whatever you're talking about, they're going to do the research themselves, and they should. You're an adult. You're not a child. I don't have to. I'm not going to spell it out for you. Like, figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, there's this great thing now called the internet.
Yep.
And everybody knows how to use it. Or there are places called libraries.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to use an internet, you sure as hell know how to read a book, I hope.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when I was doing case management, I did an implicit bias training, and I remember the trainer was like, you know, when in doubt, Google that shit. And I was like, so that little phrase, I'm like, yep, Google that shit. It's not that hard. And like you said, okay, if technology and Google are things that are not accessible to you, because that's true for a lot of people, right? There are alternatives to that.
Well, and you know, if you're talking to someone like in their 80s that maybe they never picked up a mouse before.
Totally. Yeah.
Totally understand that. That's not your fault. Like that's, you weren't comfortable doing that, but you know how to read. Like, you can go to a library.
Yeah.
And find a book on transgenderism or literally anything.
I think too, and this is something I'm only coming into awareness now of because of having more supportive people in my life. Like, there's a difference between communicating my boundaries and educating someone, right? So like, I do think it's my responsibility to communicate my boundaries, but as far as, you know, the step beyond that, I think that I'm allowed to pick and choose where I want to further that conversation or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. That I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That we set our boundaries. Someone else doesn't get to set them for us. And we should tell people, like, hey, you can say this around me. Please don't say that around me. And, you know, don't call me before 10 a.m.
Right. Sure. Yeah, definitely. Don't text me first, please. Please, I beg. I can't do spontaneous phone calls. Well, so, okay, I loved you talking about trolls and discoverability. But I'm curious, what kind of people do tend to find your streams?
Right now it's usually just people. It's people I know. Raven's in there a lot. You've popped in there a handful of times too. Taryn. I have a couple other Twitch friends on there. Alyssa and Maddie will pop in from time to time. But I don't get very many new streamers, and I don't know if that's just I'm streaming the wrong stuff or the algorithm hates me. Maybe I've been talking too much shit on Twitch for the last 8 years.
It's possible. It's funny. What is your relationship to the numbers and the algorithm and all of that?
I've been told by multiple people to not look at the numbers. Don't look at the numbers. You'll drive yourself crazy by looking at the numbers. But I totally look at the numbers.
Okay, yeah.
Because I shouldn't say this, but like if it's just if it's one person in there and they ain't talking and I don't know them, I'm probably not going to stream more than a couple hours. I try to do at least a minimum of 2. I feel like you should do a minimum of 2 hours. And I don't know if I forget who told me that one time or said that and I overheard it. And yeah, that's I try not to pay attention to that stuff, but I watch it like a hawk every stream.
No, and I appreciate that honesty because I think it's very easy to say don't look at the numbers, and I think all of us do to a certain extent, right? And that's not to say that like anyone that's like no, I don't, and I'm like liar. But it is something that's there, and you are certainly not alone in caring about it. And you're certainly not alone in recognizing, hey, there's no one talking in chat. One of my motivations for streaming is interacting with people. Therefore, this isn't serving me today. You know what I mean? Like, you're not alone in that. And I think that people are afraid to say that. No, I appreciate your honesty, truly.
Well, and streaming is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not a partner. I'm barely an affiliate. I don't owe anybody anything. If I want to stream for 45 minutes and then, I don't know, go for a walk or jump off a bridge or whatever, I'm going to do that. Like, we shouldn't feel like I have to do this. I have to do that. I like to stream minimum 2 hours just because it's a nice even number.
Sure.
And plus, but I will say, like, if there's a bunch of people in there or I'm having a conversation with someone, then I could keep going. The Dinner with Ryoko and the roundtable episodes I'd always try to make them 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually I wouldn't set a time limit for this sometimes. I would just be like, these are the questions. And they could go 2 or 3 hours. And I remember once or twice in the middle of a show, the person messaged me and was like, hey, I gotta go soon. Oh, okay. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
Because I could, from just talking now and before the stream that I can talk for hours, or I could sit here silently for 3 hours.
Yeah.
It really depends what version of ADD I have today.
Totally. Well, and actually, you know what? It's funny. I meant to ask you this before. Do you have a hard out? Do you have a time where you're like, I need to be done by this time today?
Oh, no. I have nowhere to be till 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. It's one of those questions I mean to ask. And as soon as you brought that up, I was like, oh, I totally forgot to ask.
Because I was looking at the time and go, fuck, we've only been going.
I feel like we barely said anything. I could be here for years.
No, I love this. It's because one, I don't have a whole lot of people to talk to on a daily basis. So just being able to talk to someone for more than half an hour that I don't always get to talk to is really, really cool. And you can ask Raven. Like, Raven and I will go, and we were talking about this before stream, how Raven and I have different types of ADD, and we'll like just be talking over each other sometimes because I like to talk, but I also like to listen.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you're a fun kind of rare exception where I've actually talked to you before doing this, right? And so a lot of the podcast episodes that I've done, I'm like, this is the first time I'm talking to this person ever. And so there's something that's like, it's just a little bit different versus someone that I'm like, I know I don't like know you, but I feel so much more comfortable talking to you because we have talked before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some maybe, I don't know, first impressions or takeaways that you hope people get from your stream?
Ooh. Oh man, I wasn't expecting that one.
Got her.
I must have God got me. First impressions.
Yeah.
I guess that I don't know. I like to think I'm very carefree on stream. I don't really give a shit. As long as I'm having fun, and no one's offended, I'm pretty cool with that. I think that's kind of what the vibe I give is, open, safe space. I kind of adopted that from other communities I've been in since day one. Every community I've been in has been very accepting, and mostly queer.
Yeah.
Wonder why that is.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Well, and you've mentioned a few people, but just in general, what kind of streams inspire you?
So now, I guess when I look for streams, one, I love speedrunners. I think speedrunning gay, straight, or indifferent. I think that's just so
It
cool
is so
to see
cool.
someone just take, especially like an older game, take an older game, flip it upside down, and beat it in like 10 minutes. Like
So
it's
cool. I love
awesome.
it. Yeah.
And then seeing people do it with newer games, like, oh my god, that is just phenomenal. Because now like games aren't as broken as they were 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I look for those from time to time. My friend Maddie kind of big into speedrunning as well. I think him and his friends actually have the world record for one of the levels in Back for Blood.
Okay.
So that's really cool. Other queer streamers
Mm-hmm.
that kind of identify as gender fluid or trans, I try to check some of them out.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the more medium size ones. Excuse me. Um, but yeah, those two groups primarily. Occasionally, I'll go through like the list because you know how you can pick like oh, I want to see somebody play this game and this game
Mm-hmm.
or this game. I'll go through and see if like one of like the random games I have pulled up, like if someone's playing Read Only Memories or Ridge Racer Type 4, which is my favorite racing game of all time. If I see someone playing that, I might I'll pop in there and kind of watch them play it because that's such a fun game. But yeah, I kind of go all over, but I'm not like really now when I log on to Twitch, unless the mood strikes me, it's Matt streaming, Raven streaming, Abbers is streaming, or somebody streaming, and that's somebody that I already know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I'm headed.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of exploring as much anymore
Yeah.
because I'm kind of because and part of that is I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy with the online family that I have.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty, Raven, Taryn, you, a few other, strictly online people that I talk to and see online.
Mm-hmm.
Those I'm comfortable with those. If one of those, taps out or whatever, then maybe I can slide a new I can take a new application or something. But
Yeah.
the inn is full.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Well, I'm curious too. So you've got your kind of online family and friends, and then this idea of viewership and like having a following. And I think sometimes on Twitch that line can be kind of blurred. What is the difference to you between someone that you can form a friendship with, a relationship with, versus someone who is a viewer or a follower of your content creation?
So I'm sorry. Can you ask that one more time?
Yeah. To me, like, uh, is interesting talking about like discoverability and people finding you and the algorithm, and at the same time, so many of your viewers being people that you have formed like real friendships with. So I guess where is the line for you between someone who is a viewer and a follower versus someone that you're able to become friends with offline, having met them
I
through Twitch?
Gosh, that's wow. These questions are good.
I try to think of the good ones.
I must have missed that one the last 2 weeks too.
Well, it all depends, right? Where the conversation goes, you know?
Um, that's tough. So the difference between a viewer and a friend, both coming from Twitch, and how those relationships mold. I mean, my God, Twitch is the reason I live where I live.
Mm-hmm.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I would not have met Tiff and Jamie
Mm-hmm.
outside of Twitch. There's no way. They live up. They at the time they both lived up here.
Mm-hmm.
I think there has to be that connection.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with being just a viewer.
Mm-hmm.
I have plenty of just viewers that I enjoy thoroughly seeing. I'm sure you do too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, people that pop in, you're like, I'm not chummy with them, but I appreciate every time they pop into my stream.
Mm-hmm.
Like Raven is one of my best friends on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
I know I keep talking about Raven. I'm sorry.
No, that's
I
okay. Raven's amazing.
Yeah, I just love the shit out of her.
Yeah.
And I think it's just that there has to be that spark there, and when it's I don't know how to describe it. It just happens,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, that's my person.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't last forever. Maybe they're only your person for a couple years.
Yeah.
That's what happened with Tiff and I. Tiff was my person.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're not people to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like Reagan's my person. I think there's certain things like she and I can say to each other that other people can't say to us, to
Mm-hmm.
one of us. And I think that's where kind of that line between viewer and friend is. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but to go from viewer to friend, it's just a spark.
Yeah.
Um, it's just something clicks up here, and I'm like, you.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, it has to go both ways. So like, if
Sure.
I don't click with that other person, it doesn't click in their brain, then it's not going to work because
Mm-hmm.
it goes from one person messaging you on Discord and you being either not responding or one word responses,
Mm-hmm.
or to full out conversations about astrology and all sorts of other crazy things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think it is a more organic kind of experience, like what you're talking about. And I think that like there's there's something interesting to me about Twitch and kind of the Venn diagram of hobbyist and professionalism that like I think being affiliate specifically kind of puts us in this weird gray area, right? Where I at least I feel pressure to like promote and try to like network and find other people while at the same time, like you said, if I'm gonna go hang out in a stream, it's someone that I already kind of know and already kind of like, and I've formed some sort of friendship with them, whatever that means, right? Whether we actually talk offline or it's just someone whose chat I feel comfortable in, right? So it's interesting, I
Well, and
think. Yeah, go
it's
ahead.
a way to it's a way for you to unwind. You're off the
Totally.
clock.
Yeah.
It's like if I used to work in a movie theater, so like it's a work a 4 8 hour shift, get done at 6 o'clock. I'm gonna go still be at the movie theater, but I'm gonna go see a movie
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
instead of working. Like I'm staying. Like you're still technically at work,
Yeah.
but you're not on the clock. You're not expected to go. They're not asking you. You're asking yourself to work another shift. Like you're just enjoying your time. Not on the clock.
Yeah. Totally.
I think that's the kind of difference between being on stream and you know hanging out in someone else's stream
Yeah. Totally.
or being on someone else's stream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's and this goes beyond Twitch, right? But we wear different hats in different aspects of our lives, and so, you know, I think that the streamer me is very much who I am in real life, but it's going to be different than at work me, and it's going to be different than at a family event me. You know what I mean? Like there's all
Yeah,
of these different facets of who we are and how we kind of engage with people. And so Twitch is one that's so interesting because it's like I am a streamer, I'm also a viewer, I also am in people's discords and have people in my discord, right? So there's a lot of different kind of, I guess, hats we wear, you know.
I'm a completely. I don't want to say I'm a completely different person on stream as I am off stream, but I can kind of tweak. Kind of move that
Mhm.
dial a little bit. So maybe I'm a little bit more obnoxious
Mhm.
off stream or a little bit, more of this on stream.
Mhm.
Uh Stuff like that.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, what is the line between your personal self and your on-stream self?
Uh I think I probably curse more off stream.
Off-stream,
So
really?
I curse a lot.
Okay.
Um Probably actually no, it's probably about the same.
Yeah.
Um I mean for the longest time off stream I wasn't like
Mhm.
this a lot. I wasn't dressed up, didn't have my makeup done. Swearing is cool, Star Knuckle, you're right. Um yeah, I think so. Really it's more physical appearances than I would say mental appearance.
Yeah, maybe like yeah, totally. Like personality appearance perhaps.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to think probably the same personality, but definitely different appearance.
Yeah.
Like when we end, I'll probably I don't know, I might not take this off. I looked really cute
You
today.
do look really
I'm
cute
not.
today.
I did a little bit makeup. I put the wig on,
Uh-huh.
and I'm usually very critical. I'm very, very hard on myself.
Mm.
That's a topic for another stream.
Yeah.
But I can look in the mirror and I'm like, you look adorable. I
Mm-hmm.
go, you look great. Like, good job.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just, so maybe, yeah, I'll probably, even off stream, I'll probably keep this going for a little bit.
Take a few selfies, you know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. It's this, man, the mental health kind of piece of it where I very much waver between like I'm a god, everyone thinks I'm cool, I'm gorgeous and amazing, to like I'm trash. I don't know why I exist or if I should exist. Like the,
Are
you
you are
know,
you sure you're not a Gemini?
I
That sounds
no,
like
I'm
that
bipolar,
sounds like
babe.
something a Gemini.
I I'm not a Gemini though. um, but no, I mean, the mental health piece of not only identity and just existing, but also the way that that shows up with stream. I'm curious for you, and just identity in general. Like we've talked a little bit about ADHD and depression, and then also queerness and being trans and gender fluid. Like, how do these different kind of aspects of who you are show up on your stream for you?
One, I think streaming now is a great way for people on the spectrum to
Mm-hmm.
interact with people.
Yeah.
Easy. I think it's easier. I mean, I'm not, I'm on the spectrum, but I'm not like, what I'm saying. I think it's a great way for people on the spectrum to kind of connect
Mm-hmm.
with, lost my train of thought.
Other people?
Other people.
Yeah, I would have just broadened that to maybe neurodivergent people or even
Yeah,
just
exactly. That's what, yeah,
marginalized
neurodivergent
people, I
people.
would say
Yeah,
in some
I
ways.
think
Yeah.
it's a great way for them to kind of, you know, learn more about themselves and kind of help them to socialize
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
with people doing something that they love,
Yeah.
which is playing, a video game or knitting, a sweater or one of the countless other things you can do on Twitch now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As far as how that comes off on my stream, I mean, I'm pretty openly queer
Mm-hmm.
on stream. I still wear my emotions on stream. They weren't in the intro, but there's like two or three clips of me actually like in tears,
Mm.
uh, doing, I think one was Life is Strange, the first one, which if you played that and you didn't cry, you're a monster.
I haven't played it yet, but I know I will cry. Yeah.
So I didn't think I thought, oh, I'll get a little emotional, but I had seen most of it played
Yeah.
because by the time I played it on stream, it had been out for damn near 10 years almost,
Mm-hmm.
like 8 or 9. We're talking like probably like 6 or 7 years at the time it had already been out. So I knew how it ended. I'd seen most of it streamed. I didn't see this one. Apparently, I must have missed this one part, and I get to it, and the clip is great, and I start like actually crying.
Yeah.
There was another time I was talking about a friend of mine on stream. This is clipped, and I just start crying talking
Yeah.
about them. So I have no problem being vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
on stream because who cares? I'm at a
Yeah.
point in my life where I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, take me or leave me. And if you're not gonna if you're not gonna take me, then leave me alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you say that streaming is a safe space for you to be vulnerable?
Oh, I think absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I might rein it in a bit if certain people aren't in my stream
Mm-hmm.
because I think I feel more safe being vulnerable in front of them
Mm-hmm.
than I might other kind of strangers.
Yeah.
But most of the people that are in my stream, they're very accepting, very appreciative, and do not mind me being vulnerable, and I don't mind them being there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Twitch chat in just a second. We're going to come over to you. So if you have any questions for Abby, go ahead and type them into chat and we'll get to those in just a minute here. Abby, what is your day job outside of streaming?
outside of streaming, I just took a job at Walgreens
Okay.
as an assistant manager.
How's that going so far?
It's last week was the first week. So a lot of training. It's different. It's very, very different than anything I've done in a very long time. So taking some getting used to, obviously nerves and everything else.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's brand new. I was out of work for literally the entire month of March, and then April 2nd started the new job. So
Okay.
30 days without a job, and then now it's back to work.
Man, it's a tough transition getting back into, working full time for sure. But I hope it goes well. I hope the new job you get settled in and
Yeah,
enjoy
I
it.
think I will. It's just a lot of different things to get used to. I'm used to driving literally 2 minutes to work. Now my ride is like 22 minutes.
Big difference.
to work.
Yeah. 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 Do you have any passions or hobbies outside of streaming?
I'm a big motorsports fan. I love racing. I've just recently gotten into tarot.
Yeah.
Thanks to Raven and my one friend Richie. Is big into tarot, so they kind of inspired me to try it out. So now I have a new obsession. I was big into collecting dice for a few years, and now it's
Okay.
gonna be tarot. And tarot decks are a bit more expensive than a set of dice.
It's so funny. When I first started reading tarot, I was like, "Oh, I only need the one deck. Like, I don't know why people need like more than that." And now I've got a lot. I don't know how many. Let me think about this. At least 5, maybe 6 decks now.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Some have been gifts. Other ones just kind of spoke to me, and then I've got like like the Rider Waite tarot versus like Oracle decks. So it's like, it's a thing. It's kind of like collecting dice. Like you can get sucked into the rabbit hole. So be careful
Yeah,
and enjoy at the same time.
Raven made the mistake of sending me like 5 or 6 links that she's going, "Oh yeah, these sets are really cool." One of them I ended up buying at Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
But I have like 5 or 6 on my wish list on Amazon.
I would
that I
caution
really
you,
want.
but also recommend, if you're on Instagram, you are on Instagram, but anyone else out there, follow #indie tarot deck. Girl, so many beautiful tarot decks. Like it's dangerous. Speaking of racing, Rusty Panda asked, freehold racing, Raceway Park. You don't have to say yes or no. Just know that's my childhood if you were working there.
So I was further south.
Okay.
Wow, it's funny. They're Jersey.
Yeah,
I know
got
that.
some Jersey family. Yeah.
I know Freehold. The racetrack I worked at was actually in the small town of Millville, New Jersey, which was right next to Vineland, New Jersey. I did Bridgeport Speedway. I'd go watch racing there. Occasionally, New Egypt is another track in New Jersey that I went to. I think we only did New Egypt once.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Raven wants to know, did Streamlabs even exist when you started? Because it was pretty new when I started.
I don't know. I don't think so. I was directed to use OBS, and I've been using OBS since day one.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Ooh, Raven wants to know, what is your all-time favorite game?
Oh man. It's technically a tie. It's the original Resident Evil 2.
Okay.
And it's also Metal Gear Solid. The
Okay.
first Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation.
Oh man, seeing that clip of yours, I was like, what a throwback. That's so fun.
Yeah, oh my god. I was obsessed with both of those games. And then those two top of the heap for video games.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. What are some things maybe that have surprised you since you first started streaming?
Oh, that's geez. What surprised me? I guess just how many friends I've made.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really. I don't want to say I didn't anticipate that, but it's yeah. I have to say it has to be just the people I've made and just what I've accomplished. I think on Twitch, I don't think I've accomplished anything great, but just the fact that I was able to come up with some I think pretty cool
Yeah.
and original. I mean, not original, but pretty cool ideas and implemented them. The round table, the interview, the dinner with Ryoko,
Mm-hmm.
um, the cooking with Ryoko. I thought was at the time,
I'm sad I missed those. Now I want to like go back and see if I
boy,
can find VODs.
I I I don't I mean that stuff is we're talking 7 years, God, 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
No, 7 or 8 years ago. It had to been because
Ancient
I've been
history.
in history.
Yeah. It's great. Let's see. Killa Kayla wants to know, where do you see your channel in the next 3 years?
Well, hello, Kayla. Kayla's
Welcome.
one of my real life friends. So
Oh,
thank you
that's
for coming
cool.
in, Kayla. The next 3 years, gosh, I like to be doing more shows like this
Yeah.
in 3 years. Kind of finding my footing there. I think more of these. I was trying to do a dinner with Ryoko or Ryoko's Roundtable once a month
Mm-hmm.
back in the day. I think if I can do, God, I think doing weekly ones of these gets to be a lot.
Yeah.
Especially with, well, you know, especially when my schedule's constantly in flux.
Totally. Well, that's why I do every
Um,
other week. I don't think I would have been able to be consistent if I did every week.
yeah, it's a lot of planning, but I like to be doing
Yeah.
more of these in the next 3 years.
Yeah. That'd be great. What are some maybe pre-stream rituals or post-stream rituals you have? Like what do you do to get ready for stream? What do you do to wind down after?
I would say, well, after stream, I'm usually smoking.
Mm-hmm.
I usually hit my pen right after stream.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't really say I have any rituals or anything. It's usually I end stream. Uh, sometimes if I raid somebody, it's usually tradition to almost forget to hit the end stream button on OBS.
Love that.
I've done that before. It is embarrassing. Um, give me 1 second. I'm sorry.
No, you're totally good. I've definitely
Somebody from
done
work.
that.
Let me go ahead and just mute this real quick.
Yeah, you're good. No worries.
Okay,
Yeah,
there we
Raven
go.
says that they've done that multiple times. You're not alone. We've
Yeah,
all we've
it's
all been there and looked over and been like,
I
oh.
I did it. I did it one time,
Yeah.
and I I go and I rate my friend Matt, and to take my wig off. I'm getting everything ready. I'm walking in and out of the room, probably talking to myself like a fucking lunatic, and all of a sudden my phone goes off, and I look down and it's Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, "Oh, he's streaming. What?" I go, "Hello?" He goes, "You didn't end stream." I go, "Oh my God."
I remember
Run
I was
back in
watching
there.
someone one time. I wasn't even watching him, but I saw that he was on, and I went into his channel, and it was just a like dead stream, and so I like messaged him. He's not even a friend, but I just noticed. I was like, "Hey, you're live still, and there's like nothing happening. I just want to let you know." And he's like, "No, I'm not." I was like, "Okay." And like 5 minutes later, he's like, "Oh my God, I am still live. Like, how do I end my stream? I'm already at work, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "I don't know, bro. Like you didn't believe me and I was trying to help you out. So good luck. Like, fuck off."
The other thing that used to happen when hosting was a thing,
Yeah,
you
hosting.
sometimes had to physically unhost someone,
Mm.
or like you had to refresh your stream, or the people had to refresh their stream page,
Yep.
but otherwise you would be live, but you're still broadcasting whoever you're hosting.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah. I was kind of sad when they got rid of hosting, but I can understand why, in some
I
ways, you
can't.
know. Yeah.
I think that's a great way, because let's just say if I have to randomly go on your page to check something,
Mm-hmm.
and while I do that, you're hosting somebody that I've never heard of before,
You could go
and
check them out.
I'm like, oh my god, who the hell is this? They're really charming and original, but they did away with that, and
Yeah.
just like they did away with reruns. Like I think that I was so pissed
Oh,
when they
reruns
did
aren't
away
a
with
thing anymore?
reruns.
You can't do
They
reruns?
got rid of reruns like a year and a half
I
ago.
didn't even know.
Yeah,
I mean, I've never done reruns, but I remember seeing. I
I
rated
used to
someone that was doing
do
a rerun one time, and he was like, "Hey, sorry, this isn't live." I was like, "It's okay." It's funny.
I used to run like 12-hour marathons
Yeah.
of reruns on like New Year's or Christmas
Yeah.
because I thought that's kind of a fun thing to do. You always see marathons. Remember, we were younger, they'd have like Mary Tyler Moore marathons on Nick
Sure.
at Night.
Well, that's
Like
like
I was
the
like,
Bob Ross channel I love, because it's just 24 hours Bob
right,
Ross
like
episodes, you know.
I think that's kind of cool that you can go into my stream at 2 o'clock in the morning and you see an interview with Abbers and I from like
Sure.
2 years ago. But
And
they did away with it. I don't know why. I think it's stupid.
yeah, I know a
Please
streamer
bring it back.
in his Discord. He has a channel that is just 24-hour reruns, like, which is really fun. So it's one of those. It's like it's a cool idea to just have that where people can like just pop in, like you say, and randomly see something from however long ago. It's kind of neat. Yeah, we all miss hosting, man. Hosting was cool.
Yeah, bring it back,
Bring it
Twitch.
back, Twitch.
Hosting
And reruns.
and reruns. Bring them back.
Let's see. Abby, is there any like advice that you have for your younger streamer self?
Hmm. I guess it's the same thing I would tell now Abby is don't get discouraged by low numbers.
Yeah.
Like, and don't feel like you have to stream. Like, if you don't feel like streaming, you don't have to stream. And I guess that goes for anybody.
Yeah.
I think continue to plug away and don't be afraid to ask for help on with stream questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think that's great advice. Well, and with that, like, do you feel pressure and anxiety around streaming still?
I mean, I feel anxiety about literally everything.
Fair. Yeah, fair.
Yeah and no. I mean, I feel like I should stream because I have the account, and I don't know. I guess I still feel pressure.
Yeah.
But that's pressure on me. It's not like people aren't messaging me saying I really miss your streams, or are you gonna stream this new game when it comes out? Like, I don't get that. Thank God, because that would stress me. Because then I'd feel bad. Excuse me. I'd feel bad.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, you're expecting me to stream. I gotta stream. But I'm here to tell you, you don't have to stream. And if people are putting pressure on you, they're not doing it intentionally. They just really enjoy your content
Yeah.
and hanging out with you.
Yeah.
And two, like, just explain like, hey, I can't stream right now, and I appreciate the feedback and I appreciate you, but I'm just not physically able to stream today. Because I think a lot of people do enjoy our content, and when we're not around, like, we fill a void. I know that maybe not me, but I know there's streamers out there and in this chat that they fill a void for people.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people don't realize that.
Yeah.
And it's not their cross to bear. Like, it just because you fill a void for someone, you don't have the responsibility to stream. But I think that's maybe why some people are hesitant to stream. Is like, well, who the hell cares?
Yeah.
Well, people care. People genuinely enjoy your essence and your presence, and that's just something to consider. It's not pressure, but just know that people care about your streams and you.
And I wouldn't exclude yourself from that. Absolutely. I think that's true for you too. I think that's true for anybody that streams,
Yeah. And I think, again, it's a way for those people to connect.
Yeah.
Maybe, those people that are like, I really need Abbers to stream. I really miss their streams. maybe that's the only contact they have with living people. Maybe they're just too shy to,
Mm-hmm.
they're neurodivergent too. There's
Yeah.
neurodivergent people that just they don't stream,
Yeah.
and they so desperately want to connect with people, and that's what Twitch does.
Yeah.
And I think when you take that away from them, they kind of feel out of sorts and out of place,
Yeah.
and it takes them a while to kind of find their footing again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know that from experience, not me personally, but I know people that have been on the streamer side of that,
Sure.
and have realized like, oh my god, I didn't realize that so and so was not good after we stopped streaming.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Where does your responsibility, and I mean you, the greater you, as far as streamers, where does your responsibility end, do you think, as a streamer with regard to like that kind of feedback?
I mean, again, gosh, I don't know, because I mean, you're not. It's them, like
Mm-hmm.
they're the ones that ultimately have to deal with that. But
Yeah.
I think if you're human, like you kind of have some sort of. That's funny. I just turned you down, and you're still going off. Give me a second. It's a work group chat.
Mm.
And that's a coastal flame. I love this phone, and I don't know how to use it.
Oh man, relatable. I had to get a new phone recently, new
Yes,
as in a refurbished phone because my old phone broke, and so because of warranty and whatever, they were able to give me this other phone. I fucking hate it. I hate my new phone so much.
I like my new phone. It's just
Yeah,
sometimes I don't know what the hell I'm doing on it.
fair. Yeah,
Um. Okay, I'm sorry.
you're fine.
Where the onus lies on the streamer.
Yeah.
I guess it's a little. I guess like it's the only thing you owe to that person is honesty.
Mm.
And I think if you're open and honest and polite about it, they're going to understand. They're going
Yeah.
to be like, okay, I didn't realize that you were also going through a hard time, and that's why you cannot stream right now. Or
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that. I totally did not know that your job required you to, work X amount of hours and
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you do that, like that then like you've already explained to them everything that they need to know. Like
Yeah.
this is why, this is how it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. I think that makes sense. It's well, and you said it in a great way. This idea of like being human and connection. And I think that that's something that's really interesting about Twitch and streaming as a platform is that human connection piece. Like for me, as someone who started streaming in 2020, Twitch was my, I don't even want to say main form. It was my form of connection with others during that time, during quarantine. And I know I'm not alone in that. And so I think that, as we've started to kind of come away from quarantine and everything while we still have this ongoing pandemic, I think for some people this has always been their form of connection. It's not a replacement of
I
some other
agree.
form. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's people that have been on Twitch um as long as I have, if not maybe longer,
Mm-hmm.
that yeah, this is their I know people like that when I first got on Twitch.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, this is their for because of one reason or another, they don't go outside.
Yeah.
They don't interact with people
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I think that's tough for them, because what if a streamer just is like, "Hey, I got a new job that pays more money, deuces,
Sure.
more hours, more money. Sorry, guys."
Sure.
Or in the case of my old roommate, like they were a couple,
Mm-hmm.
so when they broke up, like that channel was dead. Like
Yeah.
you know, um, and so that like but how did that affect people
Mm-hmm.
from that community?
Mm-hmm.
Not very well for some of them.
Yeah.
And I think it sucks, but it's that's I think people that I guess kind of this is their only form of contact. It's tough when a stream ends for them
Yeah,
because then they're like,
absolutely.
I gotta go back to being by myself. And I would say the same thing for the streamer. Like I got when we end, I'm either getting dinner with a friend or I'm just gonna sit here and
Yeah,
play poker. And oh, it's Sunday, the race is on, so I'll probably watch the race.
there you go.
Uh, um, other than that, like I'm not gonna do anything. And there'll be, I think there's that twinge of sadness when it's over, and you're like,
Mm,
man, that was a lot of fun, and now it's fucking done. That sucks.
yeah.
Um, and I get that way all the time when
Mm-hmm.
hanging out with someone. Like I guarantee you, after this ends, I'm gonna be like, oh man, that was. I really wish that was still going.
Yeah.
Because again, this will. I don't. I'm kind of the same way. When I
Mm-hmm.
was not working, if I wasn't with Kayla, I was here, sulking or watching, police cam videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
um, so that's why I think hanging out and there's just something. I think there's something more. There's something very intimate about. I think about something like this,
Mm-hmm.
where it's just you and me, you and another person, just having a heart to heart conversation, and that's why and Raven will attest to this. Like I love having that relationship with somebody online that I can just dump my heart out. And it's also, I think, they don't know every aspect of you. They don't see you every day. So I
Mm-hmm.
can kind of get an outsider's opinion about something from someone online.
Yeah.
Um, I think that changes as you develop a deeper relationship with them. They don't so much become an outsider as, part of your inner circle.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think we're kind of skirting around this kind of newish vocabulary word for people. This idea of parasocial relationships, right? And I think that this idea of parasociality surely existed prior to things like YouTube, but I think it really came into our like cultural zeitgeist with things like YouTube that made it possible for non-celebrities to become micro celebrities, and in the Twitch space in particular, I think that the line between being an entertainer and being a content creator versus being someone who is forming real connection with other people, that line is so blurry. You know what I mean? And I think that sometimes can be a really good thing, and also I think it can be a kind of dangerous thing.
Yeah, it's really curious. You look at some YouTubers
Mm-hmm.
and how big they are, and before Twitch, and I don't know if anybody's even going to know what I'm going to be talking about. There was something called Stickam,
Mm.
and the best way to describe Stickam is imagine Twitch. So you have your Twitch stream, and then you have your chat, but then right above chat are say five or six, 4 or 5 windows, and other people can pop up on cam with you.
Interesting.
Um, and that was really cool. I actually connected with, I think, one or two, quasi, I guess average size at the time, YouTubers. And again, this is going back to like '07, '06 when Twitch.tv was still Justin.tv.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And that website had just begun.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a really neat way to connect with people. But you saw a lot of your YouTubers
Mm-hmm.
on there connecting with average people. Philip DeFranco
Okay.
was on there. Actually got to talk to him like a handful of times
Wow.
on there, and that was really fucking cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know her or if they're even still around, but I think their name was like Little Panda Express.
I'm not
uh,
familiar, but yeah.
was on there. She again probably at the time about the same size as Philip DeFranco was before
Okay.
Philip DeFranco kind of took off.
Okay.
Um, and God damn it, I keep losing my train of thought.
You're okay.
But yeah, that's a way. I think the same way YouTube connecting this website before this was a thing, and even I think before YouTube became as big as it is now, is these minor celebrities were able to connect with their followers and supporters.
Yeah.
And that's gone now. I forget what year Stickam finally went away, but that website is now part of internet lore.
Interesting. I've never heard of it. Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. Thank you, Twitch chat, for all your questions and just for being
Thanks,
here.
guys.
Appreciate you so much. Abby, what are some maybe goals or projects you have coming up with your stream?
Again, the big one's out with Abby.
Yeah. Do you know when that's going to start?
I don't. Still working. I got to start working on a layout
Okay.
and everything for it.
Okay.
And just a new layout in general because my old one still says Ryoko 82, and I haven't been
Yeah.
Ryoko 82 in quite a while.
Yeah.
That's what I was before Ryoko Space Pirate. I was trying to think about that. I go, what was I before Ryoko Space Pirate?
Right. Yeah.
It was Ryoko 82, and then way before that, it was It's Tech 82.
Okay.
But really out with Abby. I want to try and get my capture card and everything hooked back up.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to stream some more Twitch and PS4 stuff. I've been waiting for this game to come out for like 4 years. Read Only Memories Neurodiver, which is the sequel to like 2015's Read Only Memories 2064.
Mm-hmm.
So super excited about that. That's going to probably be a day one type of stream, or at least that first weekend. I'm going to stream the hell out of that.
Love it.
And that's really it. Probably those three things as far as Twitch go.
Those are great. Well, if you're not following Abby already, go follow her on all the different things so that you don't miss any of those amazing things happening.
Yes, probably. I'd like to hope for, what are we in? April now. I hope by the end of the month I kind of have a timetable for Out with Abby.
Beautiful. Love it.
But it really depends on the schedule.
Well, whenever that happens, I will definitely be there.
You were definitely on the list
hey, cool.
of guests.
I'd love to. Yeah, let me know. With that, we'll go ahead and start wrapping things up here. So I know you're a fan of the podcast. We have a final 10-question questionnaire inspired by James Lipton, Bernard Pivot, CJDX. Hey there, Abby. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I am ready.
Here we go. Which game or activity do you love to stream the most?
The interview style is a lot of fun. I really like to stream poker. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of fun.
Nice. Which game or activity do you hate to stream the most?
Home Alone on Nintendo.
Oh, interesting.
Absolutely. I fucking hate that game.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Ooh. What turns me on spiritually, creatively? Mm-hmm. I guess people's passion. People that are passionate about something. I think that's a huge, I think it's a turn on regardless.
Yeah.
I love to see that. Someone that genuinely cares about their people. Mm-hmm. That interacts with their community, is keeping an eye on chat. Those are all things I like and try to emulate in my stream.
Yeah. Yeah. What turns you off creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
I guess, negativity and ignorance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which streamer would you like to meet most in real life?
Oh, that's an easy one. That's Slice Raven.
Yeah. Got to do it. Come out to Colorado. Do it. Let's see. What is something you would like to try on stream but never have?
Oh God, that your cat scared the
I
shit
know
out of me.
she just started jumping around.
Because I thought that was on my camera.
No,
I'm like,
no,
wait a minute.
that's my cat.
what's
She
in
just
here
like
with
jumped
me?
down from her cat tree, and I was like, try to be cool, try to be normal, and now she's on one.
I'm sorry, I forget the question.
That's okay. What is something you would like to try on stream but never have?
I know I tried it, but it was a long, long time ago. And I think my setup now would be a little bit easier to do it. I'd like to try cooking again.
Okay, yeah, love that. Sorry, cat tail. See, here she is. What is something you would never want to try on stream?
Oh, God. Probably playing Home Alone again.
Makes
I've
sense.
played it far too many times. It's just painful for me.
Fair, yeah. Abby, why do you go live?
I think ultimately to connect with people.
Follow-up question. Why do you really go live?
Again, part of the same one. It's for me. It's really just about connecting with people.
Yeah.
I love as an introvert. I like that, being able to connect with people without actually being in the same room as them.
Sure.
And yeah, I guess just the hope that I'm gonna get to hang out with like my favorite people.
Yeah.
Like it's really exciting when certain people just pop into my stream. I love it. That's why I go live, to hang out with those people.
That's great. All right, final question. You're on your deathbed. You know exactly how much time you have. You have any and all resources available to you. Viewer count doesn't matter. Commercial viability doesn't matter. None of that matters. What do you do for your final stream on Earth?
Ooh, wow. Final stream on Earth. God. I didn't plan for that question either.
That's okay.
So many things. I think it's either going to be like a group interview, like a Ryoka roundtable type stream with like my 5 favorite people on Twitch, or playing some sort of multiplayer game with those 5 people on Twitch, probably like a Back for Blood or poker or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Love it.
For that last stream.
Perfect. Great answer. Hey there, Abby. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Abbers. It was an honor and a privilege. I've been looking forward to this all week. When I started the job on Tuesday, I told her, I go, hey, listen, I kind of have plans on Sunday. Is there any way you could, give me off? She goes, oh yeah, I was gonna give you off this weekend anyway. I go,
perfect. Well, thank you for doing that. It's an honor and a pleasure for me. So thank you for taking the time. With that, I would love to pass this little stream train off to somebody that you love. Is there anyone online that we can raid?
let's go over here to this button and check and see if I know anybody.
Take a little look. I'm gonna make a raid message here. So if you're going into the raid with us, go ahead and spam chat with that. Let them know that Abby sent us.
Oh, hang on. How do we do this? There we go. Shows you how often I go into other people's streams. That person I don't know. Then we got to go all the way to the bottom here. Oh, you know what? I found her.
Perfect.
Astrid, the horror girl. Here, I can.
Yeah, if you can type it, that would be amazing. Again, if you're not following Abby, do it. Go follow her on all the things.
You might get lost though if you follow me. Just
Follow with caution.
Follow with caution.
Let me see. Astrid, the horror girl. Okay, perfect. We're going to go say hi to Astrid. Spam that in the chat. Let Astrid know that Abby sent us. Abby, thank you again. This was lovely.
Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
This was a lot of fun. I had so much fun.
Yay.
I'm glad I
Good.
finally got to do this.
I'm so glad. If you or someone you know would be a good guest for Why We Go Live, you can send an email to whywegolive@gmail.com. You can follow Why We Go Live on Twitter and Instagram and all that jazz for more updates and information. We do one of these every other week, so we'll see you in 2 weeks. If you're interested, you should come back and be here. That wasn't awkward. That was good. We're going to go say hi to Astrid, the horror girl. Okay, goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye now. Goodbye. And we're rating. And we're stopping the stream now.